What's up? So this is working. It's making a huge file. I can show you that here. So this is a file this is generating. What this is going to be is a compilation of a bunch of shit. This could take a minute to render to save the file. Let's see. Okay, we're up. Streaming. Boy, it's going to be large. Okay, sweet, so that finished. Let's see what we just made. We just made something very large. Okay. I've not seen this yet. And it might be totally fucked. Let's cross our fingers. That it even opens without crashing. Hey, there it is. Okay. So what do we got here? What do we have here? We have a lot of stuff. Okay. So first, quick check. This number looks approximately appropriate here. Since I'm talking to myself, let's go in and tell people about this happening, because this worked, and that's exciting. That is exciting. First, quick check. This number looks... Okay. Back to here. Go here to see stuff. Alright, so I learned from last time that this is not legible on the stream unless I zoom in pretty close. We're going to zoom in pretty close. But, yeah, this is pretty good. So what do we see here? What do we see here? What we see here is a range. Okay, so what we see here is a compilation of some things. Let me show that first. This is a quick reminder. I think that I mentioned there's a primer video on the channel to talk about what these tables mean on their own merit. But basically what you're seeing is, not that, skip to here. Basically what you're seeing is something that looks similar to this table. So there's a Python script that runs on a laptop and pulls holder data from Etherscan's API, and now with some modifications that made this video delayed, I'm now also pulling from XDI, Phantom Chain, and BSC. So we have all of the different chains represented here. There are some quirks with what that means that we'll see. There are some duplicate records here, duplicate accounts here. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I encourage you to stop this video and go look at the prior one that we did yesterday that describes what all this data means and the caveats to the data and things like that, but I'm not going to go too deep into that. What you should know is that there is a script that downloads this document every hour. It runs on a cron schedule. It is on a 2008 MacBook that runs Ubuntu Linux, and yeah, it generates this every hour. There's another script here that collates these things into one big file. Yeah, so up until the 7th of this month, I was not collecting BSC or the other chains. I didn't think they were very necessary because I didn't think people were using them, and I was pretty wrong, and we'll talk about that and we'll see that in a second. But starting off here, just know what's up, SnareTO. I don't like that name. That's hard to pronounce. So okay, so up until the 7th, this is what I was getting, right? So we only had Ethereum. The reason I was doing this, just for some background, there's this website called Hoj.report. Let's take a look at that. So on Hoj.report, there is a number right here. This number's wrong. This number's wrong for some reasons that I described in the previous video. The reason that we're going to address in this one is mostly going to have to do with the fact that this number only reflects the holders on the Ethereum chain, and a subset of those holders, in fact, because we have holders that are on the Ethereum chain in exchange accounts instead of private wallets. This is only private wallets on the Ethereum blockchain. If you're paying attention to this number and you're watching it grow over time, then that doesn't really matter. That doesn't affect your perception of what this number means. It shouldn't. It's a number that counts what I just described. This number is only ever going to go up here unless some very specific circumstances happen. Now, some people saw a thing on Etherscan. Let's take a look at that. So on Etherscan, I might be looking in the wrong place, but on Etherscan there's this, here we go, there's this holder count. So you'll see this holder count, 64643, roughly matches this holder count. They're off by one. I think maybe this one just doesn't include the burn address or something like that, or vice versa. But in the last few days, some people noticed that this number, this arrow turned down. Now, for a variety of reasons that I covered yesterday, that should really never happen, and that's one of the weaknesses of Hoj.report, is that value can't decrease, and the primary reason that it can't easily decrease is because when you sell your Hoj, it's very hard to sell out completely. Now, there are some circumstances that can happen that can make this number go down, and the primary one is if a wallet goes down to 0 Hoj and is no longer the Hoj is no longer represented on that wallet. So again, in Etherscan, you can look at like transactions or accounts, and we can just choose this one arbitrarily. Wait, that's wrong. Let's pick on this guy. So you can look. You can look at his. And I'm not very good at Etherscan, so bear with me. Maybe this is already filtering people. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so you can look at his Hoj somewhere in here. Anyways, there will be an icon that represents Hoj in his wallet. If that were to go away, then he would no longer be represented on here. Again, just Ethereum chain. So one way that can happen is if someone transfers their Hoj out of their Ethereum wallet and onto another chain. And I have a very strong suspicion that the reason that people were seeing that value go down on Etherscan is because that was happening, not because people were leaving Hoj, as it were. They were transferring their Hoj off of the Ethereum chain. And because this is only reading Ethereum, this value would drop in that circumstance. Now, we can quantify that. The way we could quantify that is using the tables that I've shown before. So what we could do, let's do that first. What we could do is we could look at the wallets as they change over time. So in this sheet, let's see, how do we find duplicate records? Find duplicates, LibreOffice Calc. So we want to find duplicate records here. So filter, standard filter. Let's see. So this is done differently, I think, in Excel than it is in LibreOffice, but let's see if we can't do it. Data, standard filter. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we want the opposite of no duplications. We want only duplications. Shit. Well, maybe we'll tackle that one later on when I figure out how to do it. But ultimately, what we could do is we could figure out all these wallets that were duplicated here, because we're going to have a wallet. So if we look at our big spreadsheet here, down at the bottom, you see these void values. What these voids are circumstances where someone where a wallet did not exist and then that it came into existence. And you can see, starting, this is interesting, right? So starting on, Jesus, I mean, look at how many of these are. So let's do this. Let's filter just to the Binance chain. So we're just going to say where the value is Binance Smart Chain. So among just the Binance values, right, there are 64,800. In fact, all of them, not 64,000. I'm sorry, that's not right. But all of the Binance Smart Chain wallets here did not exist on this first date, which is, well, I filtered out that the row, but the first hour. So let's see, we can sort this by I could be wrong about that. Let's sort this selection. And now this table is huge, so there's some there's definitely a chance that I crash it a few times in this discussion, but that's okay. Okay, here we go. So yeah, so it looks like, well, this makes sense. This makes sense. Why does this make sense? Because the Binance Smart Chain was not a thing yet at that time. So it looks like the first day was whatever this day was. And we can see at the bottom down here, so this is a whole week's worth of data. So it's a lot. We're not looking at the date right now, but we can see that in a second. So we can see that there are 719 Binance wallets that came into existence in the past week, right? So some proportion of those, I will say, are wallets that people populated by just transferring all of their Hoj out of a private wallet, or a private wallet to another. Or sorry, they moved all of their coins across the bridge between Hoj and BSC, which would make it so that their wallet went away in the Ethereum side of that equation, right? So if that were to happen, then we would lose a wallet. We could quantify that. That is something we could do in a bit. I don't know if that's necessarily the most interesting. So I actually have some notes, things I was thinking about doing. So here's the things, right? So here's the things we can garner from a table like this. We can look at things like dust accounts over time. So are the dust accounts increasing or decreasing over time? Now that is a very useful metric, because even when coins are on the Binance Smart Chain, they're still going to, well, that's not true. I guess they're not subject to the Ethereum craziness, but they are still subject to volatility. I suspect that there's still a slippage that has to be applied when you sell on the Binance Smart Chain. I haven't done it. I don't really. It's kind of still confusing to me. But ultimately, what we can watch is this dust accounts over time. So, or rather, people who aren't dust accounts, how that number is changing over time. So using that value, we can see the actual active holders, how many of those are over time. We can see if we're decreasing. I don't know if we are or not. I'm not making that assertion yet. We haven't looked at that yet. But using the data that I'm going to show, I think we can come up with a pretty rough idea of if the holder count is decreasing, at what rate it is. I'm going to say I think it's not. So the second thing, duplicate accounts on chains. Like I said before, we can look at how many people are holding on both chains. That maybe is a lower priority. It's not quite as interesting, but what this would do, so this thing I want to mention is another reason why Hoj.report is going to have trouble. So even if they were to pull in all the data that I'm showing, the value that you see here, 65,771, is not correct, because, or at least it's not correct insofar as it doesn't represent the number of unique holders in Hoj, which I think is what we're trying to convey when we look at a holder count, is like the unique number, right? But because if you move some of your Hoj from Ethereum across the bridge to Binance, then all of a sudden you have two records here. You'll have a duplicate record here, and we can look at how many people are like that. But that would affect that number. That would inflate the holder number in a way that it's not true. Now it's not an issue right now, really, because the Binance Smart Chain thing hasn't been around for that long. But the longer these chains, the more popular these chains become, the more likely that will happen, and the more that will affect that number. So let's look at one thing here, just for the hell of it. Let's go ahead and filter on Binance Smart Chain, and let's look at that first day. So how many people adopted BSC on day one out of the people that had Hoj at all? So let's do that, just because that's a quick one we can look at. So we're going to filter again on Binance. We can do this for each chain. But uniquely we can do this for Binance because this week happens to actually span the range where Binance was introduced. So let's look at. So here's somebody already. Look, so there's already somebody who moved 153,000 Hoj onto BSC, or bought wrapped BSC Hoj, and then sold it immediately the next day, or the next hour. In fact, this is 1 hour. So. Yeah, there's all these kinds of little quirky things. People do weird stuff with these coins. But let's take a look at how many the first hour, how many existed. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so we're going to go down here, we're going to do count if. And you're going to see that formula used a lot tonight. Let's try that again. Count if, and can anybody guess what the formula will be before we do this? If I can get it to type. It's fucking up, okay. Oh my god. Sometimes LibreOffice has some issues. There we go. Okay, so we want to count if this range is void, or not void. Oops. So we need to do less than or equal, I think, or not. Let's try that first. Okay, there we go. So there were 230 people that adopted Binance in the first hour, and then if we look at the first day, we really need to get that header row back in here, but we can go back and filter once we do that to try and get the day. But we can then take we can find the end of the first day and pull that record for that. I don't know how to lock that the top row when we filter. We need to figure that out. Does anybody have anything they want to see on this call, on this video? You're welcome to speak up. Okay, so can we lock freeze rows maybe? That's not it. Is it like, okay, so that froze it, and I don't know if that's gonna preserve it when we filter it. Let's take a look. Nope. Okay. So that's another thing to Google. Let's try and keep first row filtering LibreOffice. So this is LibreOffice that we're using. Oh, well, apparently I did it right. Let's try that again. So let's filter one more time, then we'll all the big sell in the first 5 minutes on the BSC. I can't do 5-minute increments, but we can look at, and we're also not we're not hunting whales today. That's not the goal. God damn it. Man, why doesn't this shit work? Why don't this shit work? Sorry, I know we're watching me Google now. You can help me Google. Man, that's frustrating. This may be a reason not to use Libre. Data, sort, options. Okay, is there an options on filter? Well, let's see. So we're all learning here. Data, filter, options. First. I don't want that. Maybe I do want that. Let's see if this works. Okay, cool. So it did. All right, so let's take a look. The first we can figure out what the first hour of BSC was. So it was 7/7, 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you know what? This is not true, because this is the first hour that I recorded them. So never mind. That was all for naught. I just led you guys down a giant wild goose chase. All right, going back. Let's answer one of the more interesting questions. So something that I've been trying to do for a while is the average amount bought by new accounts. I think that'd be useful. So, and we can see how that changes over time, right? So that would be kind of cool. So what I want to do, I want to say if the previous column is void, if the record in the previous column is void, then let's see, is there an average if? There is an average if. Average, sorry, I know I'm zoomed way out now. Let's go back in. So average if and there's an average ifs, so that's what we really need. So we want average ifs this range let's see mm How can we do this? How can we do this? Shit. It's totally separate, but I've been curious if we know what the third largest wallet deployed on Etherscan is between Whitebit and Uniswap. Is it an exchange? Yeah, we can find that out. So, third largest wallet deployed on Etherscan. Why would you want the third largest? Let's just look at. Matter of fact, let's look at the raw data for that. So I can go into my main.py, and I'm not going to let you guys read this because this uses my key. But we'll go ahead and pull that up, and we'll find that. So this is how this thing works. Just in case you missed the first stream, this is going to be a long stream. Okay, so this is what gets pulled. Only that thing matters lately. Want to see if it was hacked and track the hacker's wallet. Oh, on Etherscan. Oh, I'm pulling the BSC thing. Oh, how does this? Oh, you mean at a certain time? Oh, I see what you're saying. The third largest wallet at what time? Oh, I can definitely tell you that. Yeah, let's do that. So you want to see? I don't know when that hack happened. I think I know what you're talking about, but I can tell you that. Yeah. Well, here. Let's just because I like you guys. Let's look at older data. Let's look at something from a month ago, because I think that account that you're describing would have existed a month ago. And I'm interested to find the answer to the question that you're seeking as well. So I'm going to look at 6/9. We'll look at 9 o'clock in the morning. So this is Etherscan for 6/9 at 9 o'clock in the morning. The third largest wallet is this one. Let's take a look at this wallet. And I don't think I'm cracking any codes here, but hopefully you're not going to get me in trouble for doing this. Alright, so oh, look at that. There's a Reddit thread about it. Okay, so let's see if that wallet still exists as the number 3 today. This is now you guys have me on a tangent, and I'm going to get myself in trouble with this, but you know what? You were willing to tune in, so you get to know these things. Alright, so let's take a look at you know what, let's just take a look at Etherscan at this hour. So the same thing that I was going to do before. So here's the Etherscan URL. Okay. Drum roll, please, everyone. All right, so here's Etherscan for right now. Let's find the third address. Okay, so there's a lot of data. The browser's kind of bogged down. Okay, so here's Burn. Here's Whitebit. This first one's number 3. It's this. Right? And it's the same one. So a month ago, this was the same holder as it is today. So if you're wondering if this is the wallet that was hacked recently, I think it's not. because again we're looking at 6.9. So does that help clear things up? We can take a look at it, I guess. So this was from, here's a thread from a month ago. This guy has multiple wallets with Hoj. Seems like the creator of the contract. Ooh, that's interesting. Interesting. Huh. Oh, it's the contract address, I guess. Well, if anybody wants to decipher that, I'll paste that into the chat. But I'm too stupid to know what's going on with that. So sleuth your heart out. So let's go back to here. So let's look at. So we want to see average if previous column null. Saying creator of contract or biggest whale, do we know who he is? It wouldn't be Ox, right? Because he well, fuck, I don't know. Yeah, it's for you guys to figure out. But I don't think it's like Wasso's hacked account or whatever. I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so how do we do this shit? So we're trying to find it could be one of those two. I don't know, man. That's for you guys to figure out. I don't know enough about the history to comment. Well, not exclude X if you have empty string return formulas. Price group. Calculate the average, excluding blank values in a criteria range. You can get the average ifs. See, I think this isn't what I want. Average if previous column. Average ifs. Value. So we want to be able to tell it what the value is. Oh, okay. I got this. We got this. We got this. Equals average ifs. And this, I think this will work. I think this will work. If I don't fuck it up. Average ifs, that range E2 to, god damn it, hang on, it's fucking up. Okay, so the second one is this. So F2, and we want this to be the term void, I think. Right? I think we just got it. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Okay. That's cool. and that should be a fail because it's not the right range. Okay, so this value, what does this value mean? So this value means if the prior value was void, then it's an average of the new value. So it's an average in this case. Just to make sure we're on the right track here, let's take a look at where the voids start. So where these two things sort of diverge, and this should be okay. So right here, so these values here are the ones we want. So this thing should be the average. Oops. Should be the average of these values, which it's definitely not. So something's fucked up. Yeah, okay, that didn't work. Well, shit. What the hell is at the average? Let's see. So let's try to do this because we don't know how countifs works. Count ifs. I'm definitely deleting this stream. We'll try this again next week because this is unfollowable. But okay, so we'll do countifs there. We want our other range to be not that. To be F2. And then we'll try the term void again. That needs to not have a colon. Okay. So that didn't work. There's got to be a way to do this with formulas, though. And I think average ifs is the way. Anybody know the answer to this question? How do we get just those values? Let's see, we can do an if equals if. Okay, average range and the range to evaluate. The range to average, the range to evaluate. So I switched them maybe. I switched them maybe. Yep, okay, we switched them. Okay, so let's see if this works if we just switch these over. There we go. There, okay, I think that was the right value, right? That was what we had before. Okay, so this is going to be cool now that this is working. I think this is going to be pretty cool. If I don't fuck that up again. So let's go down to one more time just to do a sanity check. They're going to make our first chart here at 41 minutes in. I know we're moving slow here, but it'll accelerate once we start to do the things that I've done before. So, okay, here's our voids. Alright, so we'll throw those in there. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so now we can take this. Now we can take this. We can pull it over here. Sometimes this takes a minute, so I try to give it a second. Let it render. This operation I'm doing here crashes OpenOffice Calc very regularly, and it's very frustrating. Okay, so there's our value. So the average amount that is bought are these values, and we can see how that changes. And what we could do now is take these values and do, now this is where it gets a little tedious, so bear with me. But we're gonna chart these on a time scale. Once we do this once, we don't have to do it again, the time scale thing. But all right, so let's throw this down here. Why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me? Oh, because of this. There. Okay, so. Oh man. All right. So this is insert rows above. So this is 7 3 2021. Alright, so now we got our time, so we're gonna pull this over here, and this does fuck up something like it already did right there. So we're missing some values here. 2. Oh, it skips to 4 a.m. I guess I got that wrong when I did this the first time. So this should be 7 21 1 a.m. 2 a.m. Oh, right, we need to do like this, maybe 3. There we go. 3. Okay, so now we're cooking. So 1 2 3 1 2. We're missing 3, so this should be 4. See how tedious this shit is? But again, once we do this one time, then we can just copy this somewhere, and we'll have it as a record. So we'll do 5. Can't believe there's 3 people watching this banal, boring, awful bullshit, but I appreciate that. And we're already a whole day off. Alright, 3. What did we do wrong here? We got 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 a.m., 7:25. 7. Why does this say 7? Oh fuck! It's doing the day. It's changing days too. All right, 7. Let's fix this. 7 3 4 5 7 3 7. Okay, this should work now. We're only trying to increment our hour here. So 7. This should be 3. 4 5 6 7. There we go. Okay. Now we're scooting along, 7 3 7 o'clock p.m. There we go. All right. So we're gonna fill in these dates, and that way we can plot these things. We're still on target. I did this last time I did this. It was adding minutes for some reason, which didn't make any sense. But okay. So I think this would be a cool graph, though. And in this case, there was one that said divide by 0. So here, I think that, yeah, that nothing changed. There were no new accounts. So we can just do 0 here. It's fine. because nothing was bought, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's just plot these things. Oops. Alright, so now we can do a little chart. We want to scatter plot with lines. And I already see a huge outlier here. We'll have to track down why that's happening. But here's our data ranges. Okay, that all looks good. So let's go in here. So this is 7/7/21 at 12 a.m. 7/7/21. Oh, well, you know why that is? That's because that's the first day that I started. That's the first hour. 7/7 at 12 a.m. was the first hour that I started incorporating those new chains. So what's happening there is it's suddenly reading that all those new new holders were void before, so we'll just delete that record out. So 7/7/21 at 12 a.m. 7/7 12 p.m. Okay, so it's this one here. So we'll just make this, we'll just copy this one over, it doesn't matter. We'll just copy the number over. Okay, so that's all well and good. All right, there we go. Now that looks a lot more reasonable, doesn't it? All right, so what do we see? We already can see some trends, I bet you. I bet you we can see times when 10 a.m. happened, times when 10 p.m., maybe when people are getting off work. Spikes at 6 p.m. So yes, this is what we're seeing here is new American buyers represented here in these hours, because people are working at these times, right? So that's kind of cool. I wonder what happened here. That's interesting. So this could be one person came in and bought a huge bag, or it could be for some reason on July 7th at 3 p.m. a bunch of people bought. Who knows? We're not going to worry about that one. We will format this a little bit, and then we will watch people react to it on Telegram, because that'll be funny. So we'll shrink this chart up a little bit. We'll take the numbers, we'll spin the label up 60 degrees. I like 60 degrees for this for some reason. And then we can change the axis here at the scale side. So the major interval in this case will be 1 hour. The minimum date will be the 3rd at midnight. The maximum date will be the 10th at midnight. Major interval requires positive. That's interesting. Should work. There we go. Okay. All right, cool. So now we've got a graph. Look at now. This is kind of cool. So we can see what the average ooh, that looks nasty. Let's format those data labels. Let's do another 60 degrees. A little better. Still kind of shitty. I'll have to change the font to to like 7 point or something. Still fairly illegible, isn't it? Well, here's what we can do. Because these aren't telling us anything, we can go in and say, oops, I want the labels themselves. Can we skip? Let's see, can we skip? We can't skip them, but we can go in and just kind of manually delete them. Maybe we'll do that. We should save this for sure. Okay. Because losing this would suck. Alright, so let's go in and just grab a few of these data labels. Can I grab a few? Maybe not. Oh yes I can. Oh yes I can. Let's Google. Label every other tick, whatever, every other LibreOffice. Huh. Thanks. Hopefully I can show some things you haven't seen before, but and right now I'm just making a graph, and that's kind of a boring thing to watch, but we'll get back to the fun stuff in a second here. So insert data labels. Shows label. Is there like an option when we do that? Let's try this again. Huh. Well, that's shitty. They should let you they should let you choose how many to do, and they don't. Well, so what can we do to fix that? We can add we can format this axis and add some more breakpoints in here. So we'll do the major interval. We'll make this 50,000 maybe? Is that going to be crazy? That's a little crazy. I'd love to know why this one's still all shitty here. I bet you that's not true. But we can make 2 of these and remove that value. So let's so we can do an average of the averages, but that's kind of stupid to do. So we can also just make a table. We can export this table out. We can show the graph, show that. But I mean, it's really a shitty graph. Can we change the scale? Now that would be useful, wouldn't it? Can we change the scale? Oops. Can we make this into a? Yeah, I bet we can. Now that's more like it, isn't it? If you're not familiar with logarithmic scales, what these are is it's an exponent, so you're doing 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 1,000, 100,000, so on. And you'll see this often in like data science, but it's a way to be able to display data that would otherwise, we'd have a really shrunk value. If the data distribution is exponential, then a logarithmic scale will let you show it like this. Or if the data is logarithmic, I guess. But anyways, so let's say fuck the data labels, and I feel like this is about to crash. Hopefully not. delete data labels, and we'll add some lines in here and reformat this axis and do a major interval of like 10,000. Minor interval of 100. Is that going to do anything? I guess you can't add more than. That's kind of silly. That's really silly. You should be able to add more tick marks in, just because exponential scale, the logarithmic scale shouldn't matter. But anyway, here's our graph. Our graph looks like shit. We're not going to worry about the graph too much. We'll make it and we'll stick it out there, but that'll just be part of the stuff. Let's look at the data itself now. That's certainly more interesting to me. So one thing we can do in Excel or in LibreOffice is a thing called transpose. So we can do paste special, and there's this transpose button here. So what that's going to do is stick these things next to each other. Now, when we did that, unfortunately, this got formatted to not be a date anymore, so we need to reformat that. So date, and we'll match our format we had going, which was this format, and there we go. So here's a table of those things for a bunch of hours, and we can see that it fluctuates, which is sort of what we were trying to accomplish, right? So we can see that it goes up and it goes down. I think a much better way to do that graph would be to take out those outlying values, even though they are there, and they are, they mean something. It kind of fucks up the flow of the graph. So let's go back and we will do a regular scale here first. So this will be our first graph, but then we'll come back up here and we'll just start picking out those outlying values. Hey, shut up. Dog sitting this fucking dog. He's incredibly annoying. Okay, so come on, don't fail me now. Don't crash on me now. We might crash here. Okay, there we go. So let's go in and grab and just take this guy out. In fact, we'll probably take these two out and just make them whatever their brothers are. So 7, 7, 21, 3 o'clock p.m. 7, 7, 21 at 3 o'clock. Yeah, that's a bizarrely high number, isn't it? Let's take a look at that. So this is this column. Let's see why that happened. Was there just a bunch of new accounts, or was there a single huge buy? Yeah, we can't really see that here, can we? They must be dispersed sort of higher up here. But that's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that to be the case. So unfortunately what's happening is when you're seeing these voids, you're only seeing the chain. It's ordered by chain first and then by size. So this stuff is repeating up top for the other chains. So we could find where the ETH one happens, but I don't really care about that. Let's just change that value to whatever its nearest neighbor is. Or actually we can make this, we can do an average of these two just for kicks. Whoops, I'm doing this on the wrong set here. Let's undo that. Okay, so this one, average this, and this. Alright, so that should make that quite a bit smaller when we go to graph this. Let's do that now. And let's make a graph. So we'll do a graph. Did I do the wrong one? Why is it still here? 773 o'clock, 108. I mean, it's still huge, isn't it? That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Oh no, I just didn't do it right. I chose the wrong one. I chose the wrong value. God damn it. This is live, people. There's still 2 of you hanging on. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do this stream again when I have a more specific agenda, but yeah. Okay, so it was this one, the 890. But even still, the prior one's pretty big too, isn't it? It doesn't seem like that should be throwing us off that much, but it is. So let's take it out. It's showing 108. No, that's way bigger. Why is that way bigger? 7/7/21, 3 o'clock p.m. Interesting. That's that record. That value's not here. Huh. Let's see. What's our max here? Yeah, 108 million. Where's that fucking 108 million coming in? I don't see a 108 million in here. You would notice it in this list of numbers. That's so bizarre. Oh, that was a mistake. Now it's searching the whole document for 108,404. That was a mistake. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Okay, it's midnight. For the 2 of you that stuck around, I appreciate it. We're going to hang on to this document. I started a little late today because my scripts got screwed up. We're going to hang on to this. I'll generate a new one, and on Sunday, I'll start at a much earlier time so we can actually get some stuff done here. And I'll have a more focused sort of plan. So I'm going to end the stream, but I appreciate you hanging out. Hope you learned something. And tune in Sunday. You'll get a lot more out of it there, I think. This was a comedy of errors. So